This video is going to be about my favorite recent pickups. Recent pickups going back from, a November, right? Later October, a November, December, January, right? So recent pickups. And, recently though, there's been lots of sales, right? Buy one, get one free sales. Buy one, get, a two free sales, right? Like in my area, right? So yeah, like, share, subscribe. I share the video all over. And yeah. So a top five, I'm gonna do top five favorite recent pickups. So a top five. Number five is gonna be Mafia Definitive Edition, right? So Mafia, this is the remake of like the first Mafia game, which I never played. So I don't have the context like to how much this, to how much this is, a faithful to that game. So yeah, this game though very fun, crime drama, 1930s mobster, mafia style, all that, very cool characters, like the chemistry, the acting, the dialogue is done so well here, right? Gameplay wise, a third person shooter, at times it's kind of like a semi open world. It's not a full on open world, right? Since this is like a remake of like the first game, based on what I know, I can't go like in any closed stores. There's a limited customization. You can customize cars, right? But yeah, so it's more of like a semi-open world, but it's more linear. It is a more linear style game. But yeah, so this plays a very similar like to like one, to some of those older GTA type games, right? I follow, this person here, an escort mission, I drive to this location, etc. Right? This one is kind of a little different in that there's a skip drive, so you can skip any non-essential driving areas, right? Moments, so any area, any a moment in time where there's a long drive and it's like skippable a dialogue, you cannot skip at that drive to get to the a location. Plus as well, Mafia, a definitive edition. It has the Mafia 3 engine, the Mafia 3 mechanics in its movement, shooting, cover system, right? So basically, if you played Mafia 3, right, which came out 2016, right? It's the same, it's basically, the exact same mechanics engine here used in the definitive edition, right? So yeah. So yeah, this is my number five. And my number four is going to be Knack 2. Knack 2, I really like Knack 2. Animated style action platformer game, right? Knack 2, Knack is a very underrated, in my opinion, it's a very underrated PlayStation exclusive game, right? So basically, Knack, the more relics he gets, the bigger he gets, right? So he's basically made like all the relics. The bigger he gets, the more damage he gets, etc. He does, etc. So yeah, so Knack 2, very fun game, right? Enemies, like mostly punching enemies and kicking enemies and dodging, parrying, blocking, and all that, right? So yeah, this one though, compared to Knack 1, you are more limited offensively. This one gives you more to work with, right? You get projectiles in this one, right? You get just more offensive variety, like overall, like just more, like you move around faster, upgrade trees bigger, and yeah, all that. So yeah, Knack 2, right? And surprisingly though, like it had a kind of engaging story, right? Not the best, but engaging story. It's a more of like an animated Pixar feel to the game. Like it's not Pixar, but it feels like a Pixar movie when you're playing the game, right? So yeah, story is not bad, right? There's collectibles which give you buffs later on. Trophy hunting as well, like if I want to get trophies. Number three is going to be Doom Eternal. I love it for its fast-paced action, right? Taking on enemies, glory killing, right? Platforming, the various weapons you get, and yeah, Doom Eternal, which I made like a separate video like on this back in December or November, right? Doom Eternal, again, the various weapons that you get, from shotguns, right, to lasers and rocket launchers, to the what's called again, the super rocket launcher or whatever, right? The one-hit kill blade, and yeah, so tons of different weapons to choose from. Tons of weapons. Every weapon is very unique, like in their own way, right? Even the chainsaw, as well, which the chainsaw literally gives you more ammo, like when you use it against enemies, weakened enemies, right? So yeah, Doom Eternal, very fun game, right? There's various collectibles and various secret areas, secret encounters too, which are very fun to find, right? And yeah, and the platforming too as well, and the platforming, right? Jumping onto ledges, right? Double jumping, right? Climbing on walls, right? I had to get like on the next ledge or the next platform, and yeah, the enemies as well, tons of enemies, right? A buffed up enemies, right? Blobs, right? Teleporting enemies that will shoot rockets at you, right? And enemies. There's even this one enemy that buffs up other enemies, making the enemies very hard to fight. And a Doom Eternal, right? The boss fights as well are pretty well done, right? And yeah, this is number 3. Spider-Man 2 is my number 2. Spider-Man 2, lots of twos, by the way, lots of twos. So Spider-Man 2, Jack 2, Knack 2. Spider-Man 2, which I got, late October on its release date. A very fun game, extremely fun game, right? A web swinging, traversal, right? Traversal, right? A movement, a fluidity, mechanics, all those things. What I really love about this game, a big part of it to me is the uniforms. So the various uniforms, they're not uniforms behind like a paywall. They're uniforms that you naturally upgrade, like through, you naturally unlock through progression of the game, challenge tokens, crime tokens, and all those things, right? It's just it's very fun to switch between the various uniforms. Spider-Man, Peter Parker has 30 something uniforms. Miles Morales has 30 uniforms, so that's 60 plus uniforms, right? And yeah, this one introduces obviously, so spoilers. So spoilers. This one introduces the symbiote, right? The symbiote suit, like the gameplay, right? The symbiote suit. There's not a whole lot of changes, right, between the overall combat, but the symbiote, you get this as a special ability where you do more damage, you do more attacks, and yeah, there's a switchability too. So switchability, right, similar to GTA 5, you can switch between the two Spider-Man, right? So Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and yeah, it does a very good job. This game does a very good job of showing the grounded feeling of like a real what would it be like to be Peter Parker like in real life, or Miles Morales, in their balance between being like a hero and being like a regular everyday person. Upgrades as well, tons of upgrades, gadget upgrades, ability upgrades, movement upgrades, skill upgrades, and yeah, there's lots of scenes Spider-Man 2. There's lots to see, tons of different challenges, and yeah, I actually got a platinum this game. So yeah, this is my number 2. Then my number 1 is Tomb Raider: Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration. I was playing this game. I got so addicted to this game. I like action adventure style games. Right? Uncharted. This one, God of War 2018, Last of Us 1, right? This one though is very, this one, playing this game, I'm trying to find every collectible, like every piece of lore in the world, right? And there's lots of lore, lots of LORE, lots of lore in this world, like collectibles, secrets behind, the myth or whatever, or a certain artifact, or a certain ancient weapon, and yeah. This one takes place, I believe it's Siberia, Russia, right? I believe you also go to Syria, and yeah, this is the addition. So I believe this one comes with multiple DLCs as well. You can actually explore and then accidentally go into the DLCs, right? So the DLCs are the part of the main game as well, right? There's one DLC with the witch, a grandmother or whatever. The grandmother that's a witch that I played, right? Which I recently played. So yeah. So uniforms as well, tons of uniforms in this game. Really 18 uniforms, but it's very fun to switch between them. There's puzzles as well. Some of them, they kind of drive me crazy, but the puzzles they're very well done. They're very well done, right? And yeah, there's tons of different gadgets and swing items, right? So there's the grappling hook, there's a swinging one, there's the hook arrow, there's the there's various types of damaging arrows. There's the explosive arrows, there's a fire arrow, there's a poison arrow, and yeah, there's various weapons, pistol, assault rifle, shotgun, right? I believe there's sniper as well, and yeah, right? Playing the game, for the most part, though, it's a lots of platforming, climbing onto ledges, jumping onto ledges, right? Trying to find, I get to the next area, right? Laura Croft is, the story, right? I don't know much about Tomb Raider outside of the 3 games that I played for it. But, Laura Croft, archaeologist, and she goes on these adventures, and there's this evil corp, organization out there too as well, right? Private military as well, trying to steal, like what you're trying to, go after, right? And there's this conflict, right? And yeah, the combat stuff, the shooting, the stealth as well. Lots of stealth moments in the game. For me, I like to I run and gun, right? Shooting enemies, taking out enemies, and yeah. So that's my number one. So